everybody, and you are here for an early morning discussion of the mid-season premiere of Biters, or The Walking Dead. It was so good. I'm Dianne. I am your really, truly zombified 40-something because it's 6 o'clock in the morning where I am.
Yeah, hey, this is your zombified 30-something Brian. Valentine's Day kind of ruined my plans on the end, so I had to hit the old DVR button, wake up early, watch it, and it's only 3 hours ahead of your time, so I'm actually been awake for a while now.
I'm working on a cup of coffee, so I'll be present and accounted for, but you're definitely more awake than I am.
Well, one thing I will say is, holy smokes, that was pretty awesome.
I just kept posting over and over again, no spoilers, but oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, I stayed off of social media last night. I stayed off of everything, but as my texts kept rolling in, I had probably 12 texts total in that hour of time. I'm just like, this in itself is a spoiler. Because
I was going to say, that would make me mad. I'd be like, leave me alone.
Yeah, so I literally just put my phone down, plugged it in, turned it upside down on the nightstand, and just went about my business.
That was very smart.
Yeah, so this morning when I woke up, I watched it. Then I went through all the texts and responded and did all my stuff then. Now, some of it wasn't even related to it. Some of it was work-related and stuff. But, hey, sorry, I'm not risking it.
That's right. And they've got to know that those couple of hours on Sunday night are sacrosanct.
I totally agree. Except I lost out in the battle with the wife on Valentine's Day, so whatever.
Well, I can understand that. I'm not very traditional, so my husband lucked out. I was like, leave me alone, I'm watching The Walking Dead.
Okay.
So, No Way Out. That was the title. And I, immediately picked up, as I'm sure most people did, that it was a direct nod to one of the graphic novels, to one of the collections.
Yes.
But did you think there was other stuff behind it?
Well, I just think No Way Out kind of set you up, and I wish they wouldn't have titled it No Way Out, because once I seen the title, it was very clear that they were not leaving Alexandria, that they were stuck there. Because,
okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so we can talk about it, because if you're listening to this episode, you've already seen the episode.
Yes, spoilers, people. So if you have not seen the episode, stop now.
That's right. Turn around right now.
And then come back after you watch the episode.
Yes. So, when Rick said, hey, we've got to get to the quarry, blah, 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 blah. But it was more, they didn't go there to the quarry, obviously. There was no way out. They couldn't get out because things started to go south pretty quick. But No Way Out referred to every other household that was there. Every other citizen that was there, that was holed up in their house with no plan to go anywhere. Nobody had a plan except for Rick.
That is exactly what I thought, that it really talked about the fact that no one had a vision for a way out. No one could see a way out.
Yeah, they just seen, well, this is it. We're dead. And then we'll get into some stuff later, but do you have anything to open with before we dive right into this big old juicy steak?
Well, the other thing I thought about the title was that for certain characters, there truly was no way out, and we'll talk about that, I am totally sure. Obviously, this was directed by Greg Nicotero, which I just kind of feel like everything he touches is gold. He's such a great director and such a great effects guy. Did you watch? You probably didn't watch The Talking Dead because you picked it up this morning off of your DVR.
Yeah, well, I seen the first couple of minutes where you see who, the wolf is.
Who the guests are.
Yeah, stuff like that. But one thing that I want to make a comment. So if anybody knows Greg Nicotero, I think he should be a spokesperson for how long your hair will grow in 6 years. Because if you go back and you watch some of the original stuff, when he was first starting, his hair was itty bitty and it was nice and short and just kind of slicked back a little bit. And now he's got these wavy, curly locks of flowing hair.
I think he could almost be a spokesperson for how freeing it is to finally and completely find your niche.
Well, you know what? He should be a spokesperson for Head and Shoulders, because Troy Polamalu of the Pittsburgh Steelers used to do that because of all his big hair. Now that he's done and gone, it should be Nicotero. And then they could do like zombies, like washing his hair.
That is a great idea. I think you need to get a hold of him.
Yeah, anybody put that through, that's how we're going to do it. And I just want to be the zombie washing his hair. That'll be it.
I can put you in touch with a couple of people who know how to get a hold of him. So there
That's
you go,
what we
man.
need to do. I'll be his new agent for a shampoo contract.
Well, so he said a couple of pretty cool things on The Talking Dead. He said that it took about 200 crew to shoot the episode. So they gave a really nice nod out to the crew. And he said that they did over 1,200 makeups for this episode.
There was a lot of close-ups. There was a lot of flashback scenarios. There were lots of just different looks to everything. So I really enjoyed it. I really loved it.
And lots of great kills. I mean, let's be honest. Oh my gosh. It was just so good. And I really liked that there was an emphasis on practical effects. I'll talk a little bit more about one of the things that he said about one of the deaths, but I don't want to get too deep into that right now.
Sure.
And I did notice that they pulled off another zombie kid. Did you see that?
Yeah, and that was, obviously that was...
that was very significant.
Yeah, that was Sam's breaking point when he's seen that little boy in the street.
Yep.
And then I was not expecting... well, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. So a couple of other things. Let's see. The author was a guy named Seth Hoffman, and he has been a co-executive producer with the series since 2013. He's actually produced, 34 episodes. He also has written a total of 9, 8 in 2015, and then just this one this season. But he did JSS, Just Survive. What was that?
Somehow.
Just Survive Somehow. Self-Help, which I thought was really funny. He did Us, which was the Between the Grove and before this season finale with Terminus.
Mm-hmm.
Claimed, which I thought was a really great episode. And then Too Far Gone, which is actually the episode where the prison fell. So that was just a few of the ones that he did. And he's got credits, a lot of TV credits. He's also been a co-executive producer for shows like House and Flash Forward. I've heard Flash Forward was really good, but I haven't seen it yet.
Side note, Darabont is the one who's in the lawsuit, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure before I say my next statement. The one thing that I noticed is at the beginning of this, it has Frank Darabont as one of the people right off the bat.
And they all do, interestingly. I mean, if you go back and look, they all credit Darabont for producing and writing.
So I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because we did the retrospective of season 1.
Right.
Which those episodes will still be coming. They'll just kind of be released midweek here. We got a little behind on the editing of those on the off season. So those 5 and 6 are still coming. Don't worry.
Let's see. Too early for the numbers. That is one thing about doing it so early. So I'll try to remember to update people about the numbers next week, because I bet they're going to be spectacular.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they got to be pretty big. It was a big deal.
I mean, if nothing else, the
DVR numbers will be
I
really
was just
good.
going to say, the Live +3 is going to add huge numbers to this, because I think the word's really going to get out. So, that's the background that I've got.
Let's get to
Are
it.
you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's just do this. So, our pre-meeting before we record is about 45 seconds long, because we're pretty technical. We have agreed to stray from the format, and we will not be doing an epic fail tonight.
Because there just wasn't one.
Because there just wasn't an epic fail. There was so much more to get to. We could talk about this episode for hours, but we're only going to keep it to one. So we have to trim something, and it's the epic fail that neither of us could come up with.
Although I would certainly encourage the listeners that if anyone does have an epic fail, please share it with us, because neither of us saw it.
That's right. All right, kick us off with your epic.
Okay, so I really have to tell you that I thought my epic was going to be blowing up the motorcycle gang, because the special effect was so good. And I so thought our heroes were completely out of luck, but it was great. Then, oh my God, Ron shot out Carl's eye.
Yes, he did.
So, I feel like the whole thing was epic in its own way, but my epic really was they took it there. I wasn't sure they were going to go there, because it was going to take so much CGI on a regular basis, because it was going to take so many effects on a regular basis. I mean, this is a big deal, and this is a permanent thing, but they went there.
Yeah, I was surprised it happened at the speed and rapidness of how it did. But so our epic kind of goes together. is my epic is the body count, and it kind of goes into the loss of the eye with Sam and Ron and Jesse all just, it was dominoes.
Yeah.
It was a domino effect, which if you go back to the mid-season finale, it makes it seem as if Ron is yelling for her right off the bat when it really wasn't. That was just an audio dub over to get you to go, oh my God, which then put you on your heels to wondering, when is it going to happen? When is it all going to go south?
So when I saw them escape the porch, I was like, oh no, really? They set us up to think that something really horrific was going to happen, and now this?
Yeah. So...
but boy, they got us.
Yeah, they did. I thought that maybe they were going to get out and it was just going to be, they were going to get away with it. But then as we watch the situation deteriorate and Sam sees that little boy in the street.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, well, that's it. Which then Carol's words come back to haunt him about when she's like, I will tie you up to a tree and they will rip you a pea, eat you while you're still alive. All of that just starts flashing in his head like a nightmare for a kid, and it just keeps going and snowballing.
I thought that was such a cool effect. I was so glad they did that, and I'm wondering if Carol is going to have any kind of regret, or if she's going to even realize that that's part of what impacted him.
I don't think so. I think that's more for us to see why he panicked, because they're not, she's like, did they make it? No, he got scared, which I'm glad in a way that Jessie died as well, because she would have had so much guilt going forward that she didn't force him to go with Father Gabriel into the church.
Yes.
And she would have had so much, like if I just would have tried a little bit harder. But watching that go, and I was really surprised that they showed Ron. Yeah.
Yes.
Or no, Sam. I'm sorry. They showed Sam getting eaten the way he did.
So that's one of the things I wanted to say about effects and about Nicotero, because he's just so cool. He said that he wanted to get the emotional moment of this kid actually getting bitten on the head. So they did an effect they've never done before. They did soft teeth on the guy who was the walker who bit his head, and they ran a blood tube through those prosthetic teeth, so that when the guy bit down, you had that squirt of blood coming down Sam's face.
Yeah.
I mean, what a cool effect.
It was super cool. And you got to wonder, like, did they ask him, like, okay, buddy, here's what we're going to do. How much are you okay with? Are you scared? Is this going to give you nightmares? Are you going to have, night terrors for the rest of your life? Because they're acting kids. They get it. I remember when Lizzie and the other girl, they asked them on The Talking Dead, did you ever get scared? And they were like, no, everyone was really great. We understand it's acting, because when they yell cut, we're joking with the walkers and they're telling us jokes and they're all super cool and stuff, So you wonder how much that kind of stuff comes into play.
They actually had a little cameo for both of those boys filmed, not live on The Talking Dead, and they were both pretty cool. They were both fine with the outcome.
Sure.
So
to watch that, watch those bites and watch that happen, I was just like, wow, I can't believe they actually showed it.
Yeah.
Just because it's a kid, and it's always that gray area of, do we show this on TV or not? But then to watch Jessie freak out and then scream, and then her starting to get bit, and then you just see that, I call it the Lori Ghost Rick, where you see him just unplug the phone, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He just unplugs the phone, and you're just like, are you kidding me? Here we go. But
that's a great expression. That's a perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, and then, you see Ron and this whole thing starting to play out, and you're like, okay, Ron's not going to shoot or kill Rick, so what's going to happen? And then you're wondering, why the hell has Michonne not killed this kid yet? He's drawing on them. And then you see the knife come through just as he squeezes the trigger, which pulls it to the right. And you're like, well, cool, he missed. But then you remember you're not hearing from Carl. And then it's, whoa.
So not only did they kill Sam, which is kind of a big thing for TV, but then they went there with two other kids. Because, essentially Carl and Ron are both still kids.
Yeah, it was really exciting to kind of see play out that whole just ramping up the body count right off the start.
Yeah.
And here you go. We have completely removed a storyline out of this. We've removed characters out that, they said, hey, people are going to die. We are going to get rid of characters.
I think this is just the beginning.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, there's such a population of people that we have to get rid of at some point. I think you can count probably 20 people.
You mean in main cast, or you mean just people who are kind of extraneous?
Main cast.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's going to be some serious main cast deaths for the rest of the season as well.
So let's count: Rick, Daryl, Glenn, Maggie, Carl. That's 5. Michonne.
I was going to say, I hope you're counting because it's so early in the morning. I'm not quite there yet.
1, 2, 3, 4. You got Carl, Abraham, Morgan, Sasha, Tara, Rosita, Eugene, Gabriel. You've got
Judith.
You've got Aaron. You've got Spencer. You've got Enid.
Dr. Denise,
and Eric. Plus, there's still Heath. Heath is there. Heath is going to be a big part going forward.
I was really glad, actually, to see that they accounted for all of those characters because we were left wondering where they were.
They were hiding.
Yeah, and most of them were in the infirmary, which was pretty cool. But sorry, I disrupted your count. So how high did you get?
3, 6, 9. Yeah, there's like 22 people.
Well, and the other thing is I'm fairly sure we saw the female worker who got attacked that Abraham saved. I can't remember her name.
Right, where he's like, "Can you watch this baby?" And she's like, "Yes."
And then did we see Tobin, or is Tobin already dead? I can't remember.
I don't even remember who that is.
He was one of the Alexandrian guys.
Hey, let's just say he's dead. But yeah, I mean...
So we have a lot of red shirts as well.
Yeah, I mean, even in the total population, there's still 30, 35 people in the town, and 20 of them have names. So people aren't going to make it through the end of the season. A lot of them. Half of the cast is going to die.
I think it's going to be a hell of a ride.
Well, I thought Glenn was dead, so I thought that was happening. Well, hold on.
I did too.
We'll save that for the rotting potpourri section.
Okay, right on. So it sounds like our epics were pretty close. Do you have anything else you want to add to those?
No, that was my epic, was that situation with the body count right there. That was very powerful.
So my fail was a super small thing, but we see it over and over, so I wanted to bring it up. Day turned into night so quickly.
Yep.
Again. Was that yours?
That was one of mine.
Okay. And so I thought about it a lot. And again, having watched the interview with Nicotero, he was talking about, we were filming in the summer and we had very limited daylight hours. So they did a lot of nighttime filming just because
it's hot.
Of seasons. Yeah. And you're right. And because it's so hot in Georgia in the summer. I think that, it's also obviously scarier to have big stuff like that happen at night. The fire would not have been so impressive had it not happened at night. But I just wish they would handle the transitions a little more cleanly.
Yeah, if they would have done some like at sunset, where they're like standing around that. When they were standing by the bush, by the lake, if that was like sunset there, they just did that little clip of it being in sunset of them. Okay, let's strategize for a second here. We seem to be out of the way. We're kind of hidden by the bushes. Let's strategize.
They could even be really obvious and have the sun setting while they're doing that. But they need to clean up that transition just because it's an issue we've seen over and over.
So
that was my tiny fail.
Yes. So I have a tiny fail as well. And which was quickly, fire was put out quickly for me. Is I mentioned this to you in the beginning that in that first 10 minutes,
right,
I really thought, oh God, this is just going to be a bunch of dialogue. And then everything's going to go south in the last 5 minutes, and then it's going to carry over into next episode. Like, how can you do this to me? Are you kidding me? It was just like a lot of extended draw with the wolf and Denise hiding down in that little cubby, and they spent so much time focusing on people's faces and then breathing in that first 10 minutes. I was just like, they're just killing time to get to an hour. Like, you have got to be kidding me. And then, like I said, it was quickly washed away. So that was my tiny fail. We have to find something. That's it. So that was what I had found, just hunting it down. But again, I was quickly proven wrong as at the 11-minute mark.
So we forgot to rate it. So since we don't have an epic fail, why don't we rate it here?
Well, I do have one epic fail now that I thought about it.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
So
and then we can
tiny
rate it.
epic fail is more of a nod to next week, but it was a preview. the preview of next week, where they're like, next week on The Walking Dead, it had a Chrysler 300 that they were driving.
Okay, I'm guessing that car is an anachronism. I'm guessing it didn't exist when
Nope. It was manufactured in 2013 or 2014 is when the first Chrysler 300 came out. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I say this because I have a Chrysler 200, and I was looking at the 300, so I know, like, wait a minute, the 300 wasn't manufactured in 2010. I get it. It's a different universe. It's an alternate universe. Chrysler ponied up the cash to put their cars in it. They need to put their new cars in it, obviously. They can't put a 2010 model in there. Right. Totally get it, but I was just like, wait a minute. So anyways.
Well, good for you for picking up that continuity error. I would not have seen that.
All right, so your rating system is?
I think I'm going to say, 9.912 eye sockets full of bone shards.
Ooh, yummy. Well, I will go with a full 10 out of 10 exploding motorcycle gang.
That really was a good effect.
Yes. Well, and I liked it because I didn't see it coming. Like, you see him going back to the... So are we in rotting potpourri now? Or are we officially in rotting potpourri?
We are knee-deep in rotting potpourri.
Okay. So, as it started, I'm just like, oh, they are addressing this right off the bat.
Yes.
Like, that was one of my concerns. We talked about it at the end of last half. That I hope they don't go 3 episodes and then we pick up at that storyline point. So, as it's kind of unfolding, I'm like, damn, they're really getting to this. Mm-hmm. And they're giving up all their guns. They're at such a disadvantage. How are they going to pull this off? Like, how are they going to get out of here? Because I was expecting Abraham to say, you know what, you're right, there is one more. All right, I'll get you the rest of the guns. And then he goes up in the cabin and he just fires a rocket launcher from the door. But then when they're like, take Daryl to the back and look up front, I'm like, well, Daryl's got something up his sleeve. And then he's like, no, wait, I'll kill you both. And then kaboom! I'm just like, holy crap, that was awesome.
I was fairly sure Sasha and Abe were going to get it, or at least that Abe was going to get it.
And that's, so as we were going, we're like, one big character is going to die. As I'm doing it, I'm like, you know what? He's been on the show for 3 seasons now. He's a guy who just kind of rotates out. Is this his swan song to, we are the saviors. We are Negan's crew. Mm-hmm. You are dead. And this is how it's going to be. But
and I have to give props to the guy who played the leader of the motorcycle gang. I didn't look up his name, but he was so good. And his timing during that whole scene was just perfect. I mean, he was kind of perversely comedic. Mm-hmm. It was really, I just loved the way they handled it.
Well, he knew he was in a position of power and he could be a smartass and there's nothing they could do.
Absolutely. Bite, chew, repeat.
Yeah. Don't just nibble on your turd sandwich. Just eat the whole thing.
That was awesome.
So in my other rotting potpourri, which I had a lot because I just kept
I did too.
Jotting things down. So mine's kind of in chronological as we go through, but Michonne not trusting Father Gabriel when he said, I'll take Judith. And just to watch Michonne's face of like, I don't quite think so. And then when he was walking off, she never lost her eyes on him. She watched him walk all the way through, whereas Rick was turning and looking at other people, counting them, making sure he had everybody. Michonne just did not take her eyes off of Father Gabriel as he walked away. I thought that was pretty powerful of, she's like, are you sure? Can you do this? Is this okay? So I thought that was kind of cool.
I actually also honestly wrote in my notes, because mine are somewhat chronological as well, Judith with Gabriel, toast. Because I was fairly sure that he was going to screw it up.
Well, I thought maybe it would have been, if he was going to screw it up, I'm like, well, she's under the blood blanket. So if he does die, she will be underneath the blood blanket. So if they see Father Gabriel, they go running over, and she's underneath the blood blanket. And that's where
it'll be one more rescue for Judith.
It would be another miracle rescue for Judith.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I wrote down the quote that Enid saw painted in the church.
Yes.
Faith without works is dead. And I think that this becomes so significant later in the episode, because you and I talked quite a bit at during the first half of this season about when do the Alexandrians and the survivors merge? When do they really become a unit? and stop being us and them. And I think this is it. And I think that seeing all of the Alexandrians rally and come out into the street after Rick kind of lost it, they had faith, but they also had to put their muscle behind it.
Yes. So I refer to this as, if I had to rename it, it would be the motivation episode. Because just like that, Rick goes all beast mode. He unplugged the phone when he put Carl down, said save his life, and I thought it was so cool the way he was walking out of the house, and he just kind of pulled the door closed behind him, and boom, it's like, it's prison Rick. He's down in the tunnels, and he is going to slaughter everybody. And he just
I agree.
goes out there kind of rampaging, and then Heath said it to, what's his face? He said it to Spencer.
Aaron. Oh, Spencer. Yeah.
He's like, we got to go out there. And he's like, what? No. And he's like, no, this is it. And it was just like, yep, this is the rallying war cry. You're down 7 points in the fourth quarter, and you need to attack the hill. Like, this is it. If we don't do this now, there's no point in living anymore. There's nothing
that they'll save. Yeah.
We have to go now. And then everybody started coming out. And then you realize how many people are left in Alexandria who are just frozen in their house, that were all just kind of looking out. And then, like the husband and wife, he kind of looks over to her, and then they come out with their machetes. It was all the people from the machete training course.
Yeah. Oh, good point. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's why everybody had machetes, because it was the machete training course people. And they had all kept, running out in the streets. And I was actually expecting more of them to die off as they were kind of hacking and slashing. Every now and then one would go down, but they would kind of fill in the ranks and just kind of progress.
And Rick actually says, I saw what they could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and his little motivational speech with Carl. I want to show you a new world, and I never thought they could learn, but I see it. I see the plans that they believe in, and I know it can happen now. That was cool. Even Father Gabriel's little call to action, where he's like, "Hey, can you hold her?" And he's like, "We've been praying for God." I was expecting him to say, like, "There is no more God." Like, I get that now. I realize that now. Like, I thought he was going to say something to that effect, but he's like, "Hey, we've been praying for God to save us, and he has. He's given us the courage to fight for this town." And then he goes walking out, which is very telling, because you got that big guy who's like 6'4", holed up in there, and Gabriel's like, "Hell no, we're doing this now. I hear other people out there. I'm not going to sit in here and watch my parish die."
It was really good to see Gabriel finally step up.
Yeah, so which
he's
usually means he's going to die here pretty soon.
You're probably right. I mean, he's still not one of my favorite characters, but it was good to see him finally take some responsibility.
I agree. It was very cool, very powerful to see that. And then the one part that I thought was really just a gut punch to Eugene, and I think it was also his call to action at that point as well.
Yes.
Where he was talking to Rosita, and he said, "We're going to have to fight our way out of here at some point." And she's like, "Really, Eugene? Really? We?" Mm-hmm. And then she just kind of walked away. And I think at that point he realized, this is it. I am either going to die today, or I am going to get people's respect today.
I actually really loved his line where he said, "Nobody gets to clock out today."
Yep. And I think that was his coming around point, where I'm either going to die, kind of like Father Gabriel. Like, I am either...
Good parallel.
Yeah. I am either going to die, or I am going to save the town. They need me. There's no hiding. We're all dead if I don't. So I thought that was very awesome and very powerful. I thought there was a lot of, emotional stake in the ground kind of statements today where, no, this is my stopping point. And I have this saying, and it's really a song lyric, so credit where credit's due. It's a Slipknot song. It's, sometimes you don't always know where you stand until you know that you won't run away.
Oh, wow. That's a great line.
And that was today here in The Walking Dead for Eugene, for Father Gabriel, that I'm not running away. The stake is in the ground, and we are moving forward right now. So I really dug that.
Yeah, it was such a powerful episode on so many levels. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about Michonne killing Ron and the ramifications of that, because I've got this note that says huge ramifications. But as I'm thinking over it now, there's nobody left who knows that or who really... There's nobody who's going to even have a beef with that.
Yeah, nobody's going to have some big, like, oh my god, I can't believe you killed a kid, because anybody who really cared is already dead anyways.
Exactly. So I initially thought to myself, oh, this is going to be big. There's going to be ramifications around this. But now I'm thinking, no, not so much.
I think it'll be her emotional ramification of her actually having to have killed the kid. But he's 16, right in there, so it's not like she had to kill Sam.
Right.
She had to kill Ron, so it's kind of different. He drew. I don't think it'll last too much. I think it was just a way of we're cutting the final string here. They cut the line on that family storyline. However, someone who will be forever impacted is Rick. He thought he had a love again, and he thought he had it all. And when she was getting ripped apart, he kept seeing those flashes of her being all pretty when they first met and everything.
Yes.
You kind of see that part. So that was kind of cool.
And we didn't mention it, but he had to make the decision to chop off her hand.
Yeah.
Which was big.
Well, when it happened, I thought he was going to chop off her hand when she was holding on to Sam.
Oh, thinking that somehow he would save her.
Yeah, so that way she would let go of Sam. I thought he was going to do that, and then that would have been where... So for anybody in our pre-meeting, I stayed away from all spoilers except for it was a few days ago. I was scrolling through Facebook and it said like Japanese trailer ruins, season 6 plot line, and it was Carl with an eye patch on. So I that
would have just killed me.
Yeah, so I had already known that Ron was gonna shoot him or stab him. I thought it was gonna be a knife rather than a gun, just because it would have been cleaner to do it with a knife. But I seen that coming, so I thought maybe that was going to be it. Then he cuts her arm off, and then he's like, my brother's dead, you just cut my mom's arm off. Now I'm going to shoot your kid or stab your kid in the eye, kind of a deal. So
did it look like he was aiming at Rick, though? I mean, I couldn't I almost felt like he was trying to shoot Rick and mistakenly shot Carl.
Well, he was going to shoot Rick, but as Michonne stabbed him, so that maybe that's the ramifications, is that she's going to feel guilty because Carl lost an eye now. Because she stabbed him in the chest, which doesn't instantly kill you.
Right.
And he pulled his shot and it wound up shooting Carl, which, okay, if you didn't stab him, Rick would have been shot in the chest and dead, so Carl sacrifices his eye so his dad can live, kind of a deal.
Right.
Everybody else will see it that way, except for Michonne.
That's a really good point. So I think you're right. I think that is the stuff that she's going to carry forward. Absolutely. They've got a huge relationship. I want to go back to what you said about thinking that Rick was going to cut Jesse's arm to separate her from Sam.
Yes.
I'm actually really glad that didn't happen, because I just don't think that her character would have overcome it. I don't think their relationship would have overcome it. I think it would have been huge drama, drawn out, and I'm just glad that they didn't go there.
Yeah, I was very happy just to see that whole storyline just kind of close. I see, as we were going through it and we were starting off, you kept seeing all these characters. It's like, holy crap, we have a lot of loopholes to close.
Mm-hmm.
Or not loopholes, but open plot lines to close.
Yeah.
So they just
a lot of loose ends.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see in the rest of this season is a lot of chapters being finalized. A lot of books closing, and then we'll lead into Negan, obviously.
So now, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking Negan is going to be the season finale. I don't think we're going to see him until then.
Nope. I think what it'll be is you will see him killing a main character, and that will be the close.
Yeah, I think so too. I wanted to bring up that Morgan killed the wolf. He did put him down when he turned, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, so hopefully that means that Morgan is getting past his all life is precious stage.
Oh, Morgan's dead.
No, you think?
Yeah.
You still think he's dead, huh?
So here's why I'm saying this. So, when Morgan came to and he's like, where's he? He took her. He's just like, oh my God, I did it again. I'm responsible for someone else's death because I chose not to act.
Oh,
and
interesting.
When Morgan comes walking upstairs to Carol and she says, I should have killed you, because she knows Had I just killed him, we would be in a different situation right now. And that's the juxtaposition. Ding, 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 ding. Not drinking because I'm actually working.
I was going to say, too early to drink here.
Yeah, and I'm working today, so.
But somebody out there have a drink for us when you're listening to it later.
That's right. She kills to save people's lives. Morgan saves people's lives to try and save more lives.
That is very astute. I like that.
And that's why she said, I should have killed you. And she's just shy of crying when she says it, because she knows that she just lost the doctor and she should have just killed Morgan. How many more people are going to die because of your stupid beliefs that you can change every single person you meet?
You know, and I'm thinking back to Karen and David and Carol killing them, and you're absolutely right. I mean, she wasn't killing them out of malice. She was killing them because she thought, if I control the infection, I save everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So you're absolutely right about the difference between why they do what they do.
Yep. So
interesting.
I thought that was pretty huge. And then the big key is she goes, I should have killed you when I had the chance. And it was very faint. So if you have it on DVR, go back and watch it. Morgan goes, you can.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
He says, you can.
Interesting.
Because so his thing has been, just kill me. Just kill me. Mm-hmm. Release me from this hell. And she says that, and he goes, you can. So
that is definitely a setup for something.
Yeah, Morgan's done. He's going to die.
Significant in the future. Wow.
The one thing is Denise didn't die. And the one thing that I thought was awesome is the wolf was going to, which we know now, that wasn't just some random peon wolf. That was the lead wolf.
Right.
He was the leader of the wolves. And I'm assuming they talked about this in The Talking Dead, but as it was going, he's like, she's like, well, we did act. That's why all your people are dead. And he goes, you're right. We should have watched a little longer, but I got greedy. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, he's the leader of the wolves. Oh my God, they've had the leader here this whole time. The leader.
That actor was super interesting. Totally worth watching The Talking Dead if you haven't.
Yeah, that was cool. So listening to him say that, and he's like, no, you've been born with a gift. I can change you. I'll show you the world.
I totally thought his I can change you was going to be him killing her. Because remember, he talked about it was their responsibility to change people, and he was talking about killing people, turning them into zombies.
Well, I thought since we found out then and there he was the leader, he was going to start to rebuild the wolves.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because Greg Nicotero said on The Talking Dead that he teased Merritt Weaver, who is the girl who plays Dr. Denise, and this wolf, I want to say his name was Samuel Benedict, about having little wolf babies with little W's carved in their heads and, wandering off into the greater world. So it's funny that you say that.
So it was neat to see them, like, as they're running and he's saving her and he comes mm-hmm. back for her and, she's like, gets him bit and she's like, you came back for me because you changed. And then he sees it like, oh my God, she was right. I came back for her because I changed. And that's kind of the whole. Do
you think Carol made the right choice?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Carol had no idea. Carol just seen the wolf and bam, 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 bam. But I think Denise at that moment was like, oh my God, you just killed somebody who saved my life. And I think that's going to come up later.
I still think she made the right choice, though. I mean, even knowing what we know about the wolf trying to save Denise, I think, somebody doesn't change something that big that quickly.
Well, I think it's going to be a Morgan infection, so to speak, mm-hmm. because she's going to be like, you know what, people can change because he came back to save my life. People can change. And
let's hope she is so completely traumatized by what happened to Carl that she just completely lets that go.
Which then props to her, like when she sees Carl being carried, and she knew, they're like, oh my God, is the kid bit? And she's like, no, he's not. Let's go. Give me doom, boom, 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 boom. And she was going down doctor mode. Get me this, get me this, get me this, get me this. Like,
yeah, she did a great job.
She knew he wasn't bit because she knew they wouldn't try and save him if he was bit. So she had that understanding of what was going on and already what was happening. And she just went full on her own kind of beast mode. And took care of business and then ultimately saves Carl's life.
So I just want to say, because I think we're getting somewhat close to wrapping up, I loved Abe's little as he was gunning down walkers.
Yes.
That was really great. And I want to say that we finally got our satisfaction with the rocket launcher, with the fuel tank.
Yeah, so ultimately a bold prediction from about, 2 months ago finally came to fruition that they would drive in, use the rocket launcher to blow up the truck and get a big fire and all the walkers walk into it. Justified.
The only question I have is, so I was watching the walkers kind of sink into the lake, bloop, 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 and I thought, okay, are those walkers really done?
Well, yeah, you would think they would just kind of float. Well, I think it's just they got them all off of the town, and I would assume they're just going to keep killing them for like the next week or so. But one thing I did know is that Greg Nicotero did mention that there's going to be a time jump forward.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Cool.
He talked about that in an interview last week, that there is going to be a time jump. Remember how I like at the farm, where it's like you leave them and then you come back and they've got pigs and stuff, and they've domesticated some animals and stuff like that. It's going to be like that with them cleaning up the streets and stuff, I think. I
don't think we're going to see...
It'll vault ahead like a week or two.
That was a pretty impressive body count, though, man.
Yeah, that was cool. One thing I did want to mention before we log off here is when, she's... Glenn and Enid are sharing that moment, and she's like, who are those people for you? Because he's like, when you run, that's when you change. Kind of like my saying, you don't always know where you stand until you know that you're not going to run. And she kind of goes into, who are those people for you then? If you're talking about, when you change, that's you lose those people, those memories, then they really do die. And he's like, my parents, Dale, a man named Dale, a man named Tyrese, a man named T-Dog, Maggie's father. He gave
nice props to old characters. I wrote that down too. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, so, he kind of went through and talked about those things, and it's like, this is why he hasn't killed somebody, because all of the people he's mentioning were that soft-hearted, caring nature about always doing the right thing no matter what, and not having to get your hands dirty if you don't have to.
You're right. So who did he mention? He mentioned Dale, Tyrese. I think Andrea was one of the mentions. I've got to go back and look at my notes.
Herschel.
Let's see. Dale, Herschel, Andrea, and Tyrese, and then his parents.
So those were all the soft-hearted, good people that, he wanted to honor. And as soon as he takes his first life, then he knows that he just killed all of them.
Wow. That was cool.
So that was the other thing I got out of that. And then the one joking comment, how are you talking about Abraham was laughing when he was gunning him down?
Yes, that was so. Can you get the door?
Yeah. Can you get the gate, pal? That was pretty funny. Great. That was awesome. I really thought that was Glenn's death.
I did too, and I think a lot of people did. I think we were watching through our eyes, or watching through our fingers. No.
Yep, I thought that was it. And it was how, impactful for Maggie to see my husband got her here to help her save me, and he just sacrificed himself so I could move on forward. And I kind of, it's amazing how fast your mind works, because as I was watching it happen, I was also then thinking of Maggie's alternate storyline moving forward, where she becomes the big, the patriarch of the group now, where she's making the decisions for everybody.
I was actually thinking Glenn was dead, and there was a part of me that was at peace with that for exactly that reason, because he was making it so that Maggie could go forward and have the baby.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and, it didn't happen. But then we see them all kind of sitting there at the end of the episode, just kind of hanging out, looking around, and being like, yep, we just killed a whole bunch of zombies. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they must have felt really empowered as a group and unified as a group, Yeah,
because that was kind of the whole mantra that everybody was saying as they were charging out. This is it. This is it. We make our stand. This is it. Let's do this. And they all kind of kept going out there, and that was kind of the whole, the motivator episode, is that everyone just kept responding to the drums of war, and they all just kept kind of coming out and stronger and more unified for that reason, is They were fighting together as a group in a circle on a front, moving towards a safe spot where they could be and continue. So I thought that was awesome.
This is really where we see them finally become an integrated community. I absolutely believe that. So speaking of communities and maybe heading to our Facebook page, I do want to say thank you to the people who actually live in the community that doubles as Alexandria, because Greg Nicotero was saying they lit that lake on fire over and over and over again.
Got a fish fry going. Anybody want in?
Yeah. So those folks are certainly putting up with quite a bit so we can get our Walking Dead fix.
That's hilarious.
So just a couple of quick things from our Facebook page. So Thomas Reese, before the episode, wrote, number 1, Abraham has a rocket launcher in the tanker truck. Excuse me. Number 2, the wolf that Morgan didn't kill will inadvertently save the life of one of our favorite characters. Number 3, I hope Sam and Ron get it. So he pretty well called it.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I really dug it. It just had a lot of good feelings, good emotional impacts, but also paired with the action to go. Because a lot of times we see a lot of action, but a lot of not of, what do you want to say?
Right, you can either have that character development and that emotional stuff, or the action. You don't often get them in the same episode. Actually, this compares to Vatos, because it was so big and so emotional. It was huge all the way around. I keep saying huge. It was huge!
Yeah, it was just great, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Chris Hardwick came out and said, hey, this might have been one of the best episodes ever.
I agree.
And I genuinely agree with that. I really don't. I like to go off the beaten path, be it in TV shows or even in music albums. I usually like the B-side to albums rather than, the first 5 songs that are the singles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I really will go with the mainstream on this. I mean, it really did. It really had a lot of stuff. Now, did they use all of the fuel from the tanker truck, or were they smart enough to say, hey, wait a minute, let's just hold this one?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because fuel obviously is one of the most precious commodities here. I just thought, as it was going on, why didn't they just light a house on fire?
That would have been a great idea, too.
Just a house.
I think they were looking for containment, and I think they felt like the lake was containment. But you're absolutely right. A house would have served the same kind of purpose, and it would have taken less fuel to get it up and running.
Yeah, but I guess you start the house on fire, then you get flaming zombies walking around, lighting everything else on fire, I guess.
So you don't have quite the level of containment. That's true. That's very true. Well, what a great start to the second half of season 6.
Absolutely. I look forward to everyone's comments and what we thought and what you picked out. Let us know what you think. Any bold predictions heading into the next 2 or 3 episodes, let's say.
Are you going to shoot out some bold predictions? Because I've got a couple.
Yeah, fire them off. Let's hear it.
So I'm fairly sure we're going to lose both Abraham and Daryl this season.
Yeah, Daryl is dead for sure. I will bet my podcasting career on that. Daryl is dead this season. Because
I'm not gonna hold you to that if it doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, it is. The writing's on the wall. I'm not going to go into why or how, but just look around. He's dead. He is dead this season.
I think so too. What are your bold predictions?
I'm going to get very specific and say that we will lose. We're going to lose. I think they're going to hold Glenn till the end.
Yeah.
Glenn will suffer Lucille's end. Because now this is twice Glenn has screwed us from his death. Twice. They are saving him for Lucille. And I think that's it. Boom, here it is. They're dead.
See, I'm one of those people who thinks that's actually going to be Daryl. So it will be interesting to see how that comes to pass.
I see Daryl going in a sacrifice.
A blaze of glory, as it were.
Yep. I see him laying down his life to save a Carol. Somebody like that, where he knows, because maybe that's Morgan's undoing, is he just makes another dumb choice and then ultimately gets somebody of value killed.
Ugh. That would be awful.
Yeah.
I can totally see it happening, but that would be awful. So I'm sorry, I interrupted you. You said you were going to be very specific. So you were very specific about Glenn. Do you have any other predictions you want to throw out there?
Well, Daryl's going to be self-sacrifice. He's going to sacrifice himself for somebody else. And I think next week is going to suck.
Well, it's kind of hard to top this week.
They've got a lot of cleanup. They've got a lot of things to do. And I think that's where the time jump might be in the next week or two. Mm-hmm. They've got a lot of things. I'll say this. One thing that I was really surprised we didn't see was Walker Dianne.
My husband brought that up, and I said, well, who knows? Did she really turn? I guess she did.
Yeah, she got killed. I mean, she went out in a blaze of glory.
Did we count all of her bullets? Did she use all of her bullets?
Yeah, she shot them all, and then she just screamed at the walkers that were coming down the aisle. So my thought is, they're obviously going to do a complete full sweep of Alexandria. Mm-hmm. As they're going to rebuild the wall. They're going to do a full sweep of everything. I'm wondering, here'll be a bold prediction. Spencer dies at the hands of his mother.
Oh. Yeah, I do think Spencer's going to die, so that would be a really interesting twist.
That'll be it. All right.
Well, I probably need to go get ready for work, and you probably need to go back to work.
Yeah, I need to go back to work. All right, everybody. Let's all take it one dead day at a time.
Closer.
It's terrible.
We're getting better.
That's the epic fail for today.
Oh, that's terrible.
Whee! Bye, everybody.
All right. You have a good one.